with Dire Chiefs and Cyclones fan. Let's preview the rookie season for R. Mason Thomas, why it's good the Chiefs broke the mold of getting a speed pass rusher, and why his game can translate from college to the NFL. My name's AJ Caldwell, and welcome back to Cyclone Kingdom. Another rookie preview as OTAs begin today for the Kansas City Chiefs. R. Mason Thomas, the 40th overall pick for the Kansas City Chiefs, broke the mold for a lot of people and a lot of Chiefs fans and a lot of Chiefs front office people in getting an actual speed rusher. Steve Spagnuolo has never been known to get a guy who can come off the edge very, very quickly, and R. Mason Thomas provides an attitude and a work ethic that is going to help the Kansas City Chiefs get back to their pass rushing ways with Frank Clark and Chris Jones and going back to the D Ford days. I mean, it has been a while. It's been a while since the Chiefs had a speed rusher that you can trust and you know is going to get after the quarterback. So R. Mason Thomas is going to make or break the Chiefs defensive line room. We talked about Peter Woods a little bit and what he can provide for Chris Jones. R. Mason Thomas can provide things for everybody else in the defensive line. Yes, we love George Karlaftis. We love the value that he provides, but he's not to the quality or the play that an edge rusher should have that R. Mason Thomas has the potential to be. Now, he's a rookie. You don't know what he's going to turn into, but his ability and his ceiling is so much higher than George Karlaftis. We get that. Karlaftis had a great season. He, was awesome a couple years ago, 10.5 sacks. He did a lot for the Chiefs defensive line, but his job is to crush the pocket. His job is to, get 7 yards upfield and then turn it back inside. There's a lot of great thoughts from Kansas City Sports Network. If you guys want to go check out their podcast there on KC Laboratory and Only Weird Games, they have a lot of great takes about what the Chiefs defensive line has been. R. Mason Thomas can break all of that. So what's his ceiling? What does it look like for R. Mason Thomas to be this elite pass rusher? It looks like getting around really good left tackles or right tackles, depending on which side he lines up on. It looks like getting by some of those elite offensive linemen. There are a lot of great offensive linemen in the NFL. And it's going to be very apparent very early on whether or not R. Mason Thomas can play up to that standard. Now, I know he's a little bit more lightweight. He's not built like a normal pass rusher. In fact, he was actually listed as an outside linebacker when he first came to the Chiefs and got his number and everything. But he's transferred to number 51 now. He's a defensive lineman. Who knows how much weight he's already even put on with the training program the Chiefs have. They do a great job with those types of things. But will he be the guy that the Chiefs have needed since Frank Clark? Will he be this elite pass rusher? Because that would be his ceiling. His ceiling would be a Frank Clark type of person that can game wreck from the outside. Peter Woods and Chris Jones are going to do their thing. Kyrus Tonga is going to do his thing on the inside. Omar Norman Lott, right, coming off injury. They're going to do their thing on the inside at defensive tackle and be game wreckers on the inside. What about the outside? What about if George Karlaftis doesn't take the next step, right? What if he doesn't have the bounce back year that myself and other people think he's going to have? Well, it's dependent upon R. Mason Thomas to go after the quarterback. It's dependent upon him to prove why he was a second-round pick. That's his ceiling. His floor is literally any defensive lineman, defensive end the Chiefs have had post-Frank Clark. It just is. George Karlaftis is serviceable. He's really good. He's not this great top-tier pass rusher. And so the floor for R. Mason Thomas, even in his rookie season, would be, well, just another guy. He's too lightweight. He can't get around, offensive tackles, left tackles or right tackles, and he's just kind of out there. Similar to what I said about Peter Woods, of he's just kind of barely serviceable. And then you got to figure out Felix Anudike-Uzomah. Is he gonna finally play up to his potential, a first round pick? Right? Do you go get Cam Jordan? Right? If the floor happens for R. Mason Thomas, there's a lot of hard conversations that need to be had about the Chiefs' defensive line. Because if you don't go get somebody, which it sounds like they're not going to, Cam Jordan's got an offer at the table from the Saints. There's not a lot of other people available that the Chiefs really want. It's dependent upon this 40th overall draft pick to go do his thing. To go do his thing and be the speed rusher the Chiefs need. So his ceiling is to be the best since Frank Clark. The D Ford Frank Clark type of personality and game wrecker. His floor is he's just another defensive end that the Chiefs swung and missed on. So what's a realistic view for R. Mason Thomas going into 2026? Is it more his ceiling or is it more his floor? Hot take. R. Mason Thomas is going to be awesome his rookie season. We're not going to have to wait till year 2 or year 3. R. Mason Thomas, watching his Oklahoma highlights, I know it's college and the NFL is a different speed and everything. He can get after the quarterback, and in the words of so many Chiefs media people that I think have made the right take about this, he's a maniac in the best ways. He loves hitting the quarterback. He loves coming off the edge. He loves being that guy and being that dog in the defensive line room that says, I'll go get him. I'll go get the quarterback. I'll do it myself. You guys do your thing. And by the way, Peter Woods can free up Chris Jones. If R. Mason Thomas is what I think he's going to be this year, which is this great pass rusher for the Chiefs, Chris Jones can feast. Because Peter Woods will be right next to him. Kyrus Tongue will be right next to him. George Karlaftis will be a really good defensive end on the other side. And Chris Jones can go have an all-pro year. That's the ability that R. Mason Thomas has, and that's the ability I think he'll provide. Now, there's potential for the opposite, obviously, right? Realistic views in mid-May or end of May are what they are. It's just a take, right? But I think R. Mason Thomas has that ability, and I think that realistic view is one that'll come to fruition. I think he will be the best defensive end the Chiefs have had since Frank Clark. He's his speed, his ferocity, his way that he attacks the linemen and attacks the quarterback is something the Chiefs haven't seen in a long time. And so I'm very pumped to see R. Mason Thomas. I'm very pumped to see his ability and see what he does, and I hope he really pans out because by golly, the Chiefs need a defensive end that can rush the quarterback. And I love George Karlaftis, but he's just not that guy. He doesn't have the ability that I think this guy will. Leave your comments down below what you think about R. Mason Thomas's ceiling and floor, what you think his realistic view is, and where you think he can go in 2 to 3 years. What kind of a player can he become if his rookie season pans out like I think it's going to in being this great pass rusher? Leave your comments down below. As always, roll clones, and how about those Chiefs?